Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the Semoto Podcast. Today here with us Damian Horner, CEO and founder of Vision Creative Labs and previous co-founder of Real Vision. Welcome Damian, how are you?
Hi, really good and nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. We met a long time ago and I have to say when I met you I was fascinated about the job that you have done, what you have built, and the expertise that you bring to blockchain. So it's an absolute pleasure having you here with us today.
That's super kind of you. Thank you. I'm going to take that little clip and send it to my mum so that she can be proud of me.
Awesome. David, tell us about your labs, your studio. What do you guys specialize on?
Okay, so so my background is marketing, branding, and strategy. My co-founder Roger Hurst, his background is finance, traditional finance actually, ex-Goldman Sachs, UBS, etc., Deutsche, and together we've created a company that focuses on communication for tech organizations, digital assets, crypto, blockchain, and traditional finance. And the real special bit, I guess, about us is, one, we can bring proper strategy to it. We're more than just a production company, but we're also the global leaders in the creation of video avatars. So we are the leaders in creating an avatar of somebody. We film you. We create your avatar, and this isn't an animated avatar. It looks like you. It sounds like you. It moves like you. And then you can be on holiday in Italy and you can send me an email saying, oh, could you do an announcement or a video, and we will create that video for you. And so these avatar videos, we work with some of the biggest organizations in the world, and they are quick to make. They're way more cost effective than a normal video, and what they allow you to do is massively increase your content and your strategies for talking to your audiences or your clients. So they've been a game changer, and I think they're still relatively new. The world in 2025 is going to wake up to avatars and avatar videos, and I think they are set to become something that are very much part of the media landscape.
Fascinating. I would like to go back to this one because this is a completely separate topic that deserves quite a bit of attention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So first of all, tell us a bit about your journey from Real Vision into creating this new company, and then let's dig deeper into what you do for blockchain companies out there, because your specialty is all around the message. You're not a PR company.
Right.
You do something more structured. You really help a company putting themselves out there, passing the right type of message. Am I correct?
Absolutely right. Well, let me start with the Real Vision part. So I was living in Spain. I lived in Spain for about 10 years, and there was one other English guy in the village. And we met up. We both speak Spanish, but we thought, hey, we should meet up because we're both English. We can at least talk about the football. And we met up, and that guy was Raul Pal. Now, some of your audience will know Raul Pal. He's very big in the crypto space now. But at that time, he was ex-Goldman Sachs, writing the GMI newsletter. And we became really good friends and lived, as I say, in the same village. Used to meet up for beers and wine and drink cigars and whiskey late into the night and chat about the world and what we were both working on. And I was working on a strategy for the Rolling Stones at that point. We were trying to create an app which was a kind of video, photography, written word combination. And Raul was sat there, and Raul secretly wishes he was in the Rolling Stones, at least in the 1970s. And he said, oh, God, I wish there was something like that in finance, something cool and interesting. And we kind of, that triggered this idea for what could we do within the world of finance that was a bit more interesting. And out of that conversation came the idea for Real Vision. And Real Vision, as some of you will know, is a video channel for the finance industry. So we started that because if you are investing in anything, you need to understand it. You need to know about it before you're going to put your money into it. And traditionally, people read pages and pages of reports, and we said, what if we turn those into videos? So that's how Real Vision started. But in our very first video, we talked about Bitcoin. This is back in 2013. And we got absolutely killed. Our audience went crazy. What is this? I've never heard of this. This isn't even real money. You're wasting my time. I can't believe I'm subscribing to this. This isn't going to go anywhere. Never heard of it. It's going to die. I mean, we got absolutely killed. But I think we had a belief that there was something there. And honestly, did we really understand the potential of Bitcoin? Not really, but we knew there was something there. So we kept following Bitcoin and talking about Bitcoin, because at that point, that was the main game in town. And then obviously over the years, what we did with Real Vision is we learned more about the space, more people came to us, and I think every major investor, every major asset has been on Real Vision at some point. And we're very much known to be supported.
Thanks for that. Tell us about your company now, because obviously we know about Raul, we know about
so what happened was what happened is lots of companies came to us and said, look, love your content on Real Vision, could you make some content for us? And it got to the point where I decided to break away and set up a separate company that does content specifically for other organizations. So you might be a bank, you might be a crypto exchange, you might be a blockchain organization, and you want to get your story out to the world. And I think this is really the guts of what I think is causing a lot of problems for the blockchain industry, for the crypto industry, which is that there's a lot of focus on the tech, and the tech is incredible, and the opportunities are incredible. But unless you get your audience, or rather your potential audience, to understand it, to feel confident with it, they are going to be very slow to invest or to take part in whatever you're doing. And I know that we work with lots of institutional investors who continually say to us, look, I would love to be investing in blockchain. I'd love to be doing more in that space. I just don't feel I understand it. We get a lot of companies who say, I'd love to move onto blockchain, onto Web3. We just don't understand it enough to make that kind of move or that kind of investment. Now, that's a real problem, because on the one hand, we know the benefits that come with blockchain. We also know that there is a potential audience which is enormous that are kind of interested already. They're not closing the door. The problem is they don't understand, and not enough time is spent communicating with the audience to help them understand. And I think if you speak to most people in this space, they'll say, look, nobody totally understands it. It's moving so fast. It is so splintered in so many ways. It's really hard to keep up. So, even when I talk to Raul says, I don't understand everything. I cling on by my fingernails. And I think most people, if they're honest, would say that. That's the people in the space. For people outside the space, it's even harder. And so one of the issues is there is so much competition within the space between the different technologies. There is so much tribalism that it's very hard to get out of that and start communicating with the audience who actually are going to make a difference, the people who are going to invest. And that's what we do. We help companies speak to those audiences.
I mean, me and you, we talked before about it. I mean, education is important. You need to make people aware of the technology, but sometimes there are companies that are doing incredible things in the space. But again, and during this podcast, I think we will use the word communicating and messaging quite a lot, but they don't explain, they don't communicate exactly what they're doing in a way that is simple and digestible. So how can an audience use them? So that blocks them to reach proper adoption, right?
You're absolutely right. And I think one of the problems, and there are, we work with companies who are trying to raise capital. So they're trying to raise funds in order to get started. We work with companies who are launching a new product or a new service or a new technology. We work with companies who are trying to grow their audience or grow subscribers or get new investors. We face all sorts of different problems, communication problems. And there are a number of mistakes that people continually make. So I'll give you a really simple one, is that people often start by talking about how good their technology is. Okay, they say this is amazing, we love this, it's fantastic, it can do this and this and this and this and this. And obviously you need to communicate that at some point, but a better start point for your communication is to try and understand what are the blockers in your audience. So every audience, and it doesn't matter whether you're trying to talk to somebody on a Hinge or Tinder date, or you're trying to sell a product, or you're trying to sell a house. There are always blockers, and what I mean by that is there's something at the back of the mind of your audience who's thinking, yeah, I'm interested, but I'm not sure about this, or I'm nervous about that, or I don't understand this. Every potential audience has a blocker, and you've got to start by working out what do you think that blocker is, and let's tackle that before we start talking about ourselves. Before we start telling someone how amazing we are, how great our technology is, let's try and work out what the blockers are, and let's address them head on. And that often, particularly in this space where we know a lot of the audience don't understand, they're scared of a scam, they are biased by lots of the negativity around crypto, which is completely different to necessarily to blockchain, but they mix the two up because they don't understand it enough. They don't understand the technology. And worst of all, in this space, nobody wants to look like an idiot. Even the people in this space don't want to look like an idiot, let alone the people on the outside. They don't want to feel that they don't understand because they feel that makes them look stupid or weaker or in a lesser bargaining position. So what they end up doing is not really saying, I don't understand that, can you explain it? Because blockchain technology has been around long enough that people kind of should know. So there's a lot of kind of nervousness about it, and therefore people put up the shutters, they close the door.
Let's take even a step back. I mean, what it means to communicate a message about your company. I mean, is the priority to tell who the company is made of, so the team, the founder, or your fundamentals, or as you said, first thing to address is that blockage. So identify it and address it. Somebody says, don't blow on your own trumpet, address the problem first. That is what you should do. But what's your suggestion?
So the first thing is don't try and sell your product. And that sounds really kind of strange because you think, well, that's exactly what I am trying to do. I am trying to sell my product or get people to invest or get people to participate. That's the whole point of communication, isn't it? Yes, it is, but that's not how you start.
Sorry to interrupt. The camera is moving quite a little bit.
Yes, sorry, I'll do that now.
No, don't worry.
I'll start that bit again.
No, please.
Okay, so obviously you want to sell your product, but actually what we need to do is we need to focus on what is the benefit? What is the benefit of whatever you do for that particular person or organization? What can you offer them? And that's not about getting to the technology. That's about how you can help their business or their investment or their operation. So always start with what do they want? What do they need? Not what do you do? Start there. So this is how we can help you. Boom, 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 boom. Then you can start addressing some of the negatives. But you might be worried about this or that or the other. So here's how we can address that. Here's how we solve that problem for you. And then what you've done is you've helped your audience. You've got their interest by making them think, okay, this is relevant to me. This is something that will actually benefit me. And I feel more comfortable with my potential negatives. Okay, now I'm ready to listen. And that's the thing. It's called, in marketing, we call it a resentful deafness, is that people don't listen. They might be watching the video, they might be listening to you talk, but they're not actually listening and taking it in, because at the back of their mind, they're thinking, yeah, but. So you've got to get rid of that negativity. So once you've got them to understand the benefit for them, once you've got them feeling more relaxed about the blockers, then they're going to actively listen. And that's when you can start telling them about your product and how it works. And then the other thing that's really important in the communication is, why now? If you talk to anybody, if you offer them anything, tell them about any product, any investment, any service, what they tend to do is they go, oh, that's quite interesting. I'll think about that. And what they do is they put it on a list. And that list goes on forever, of all the millions of things that they are one day going to look at or think about. So if you said to me, oh, you should invest in, I don't know, Solana right now. You should invest in Solana. I think, okay, that sounds interesting. I've listened to your arguments. I think, yeah, that's quite interesting. I'll think about that. What you really need to do is you need them to think they should do it now.
Create a sense of
or
urgency.
Or they should do something now.
Yeah. Create that sense of urgency on why to do it now. Why it is now is important.
It's shocking how often that is forgotten in the communication mix. What is the benefit of doing it now? It doesn't mean you have to put money in now, but it might be that you just join a mailing list. It might be that you set up another meeting. But you've definitely got to provide a trigger for action, or you're just going to be lost on that list that is always growing.
And out of curiosity, there are theories around that probably because of the fear that and the skepticism that the audience still have towards Web3 and blockchain, a lot of companies are kind of not focusing on the technology, as you said. They're literally putting the technology behind the bonnet and keeping it shut. Don't mention blockchain. Tell me how you are helping me. If blockchain is in the picture, happy days, but it shouldn't be the priority. What's your view on that?
I totally agree with that. I am 100% behind that strategy. So, I have an amazing mobile phone. It can do all sorts of things. Do I know how it works? I have no idea. Zero idea. My television. How does a camera? How do you capture? How do we capture an image that I can look at? How is that even possible? I have no idea, and I don't care. What I care about is I can take a photo, and so the technology, incredible as it is, and the fact that it is an astonishing enabler is wonderful, but that is not what I am buying. There's a great example in marketing. We call it features and benefits. And features is when, and this actually happened, it was a car company were launching a new car, and in the doors they had a carbon fiber bar that if a car hit you from the side, it would stop the car collapsing. And the original idea for the advert was, all our cars are now fitted with a carbon fiber side impact protection system to protect your car in an accident. And they talked about all the carbon fiber. Now that's what we call a features-led message. It's all about the feature. They ended up going with a different strategy, which won lots of awards and was incredibly successful. They said, we have fitted this. They didn't even say what it was. We have fitted this new technology so that if you're in an accident, the little girl in the passenger seat, whether you're taken to school, doesn't get killed. That's a benefit-driven strategy. That is emotional. It makes me want to know what it. I don't need to know what it is. I want the benefit. I want that. And so that's a very kind of blunt way of describing the difference between features and benefits. Technology is a feature. It's not a benefit.
Absolutely. It resonates extremely well. There are a million of questions that I would love to ask you. Out of curiosity, you have exposure to both industries. So we talk about the element of education. We talk about the element of the potential clients in Web3 tend to be sometimes more concerned, skeptical. What are the difference, in your opinion, on when passing a message from TradFi and Web3? What are the differences in the two worlds?
So there are probably two big things. One of the issues, and we're seeing this change rapidly, is that people, one of the ways into the blockchain Web3 world is crypto. Whether we like it or not, it is, because that opens the door to kind of understanding blockchain for many, many people at a mass market level. And so what happens is, it used to be that people thought crypto was completely different to traditional finance. They were different worlds, not connected in any way, very tribal. And then in, I think probably 2019, 2020, when people started seeing, hang on a minute, what happens in the real world affects what happens in the crypto world, and there is a massive crossover. Suddenly what happened is a lot of people in crypto started trying to understand the macro finance, traditional finance world. Equally, people in traditional finance start to think, hang on a minute, there's definitely something happening in crypto. I need to understand that. So, for example, on Real Vision, we definitely saw a crossover of those two worlds, trying to understand the other. And that continues. And then once you start understanding crypto or thinking about crypto, then you start understanding blockchain, and that is a door into Web3. So I think that's a very typical journey, is the kind of crypto, blockchain, Web3 journey in terms of the journey of understanding.
Good.
The other dynamic here is age. One of the problems with a lot of this is that the people who run companies, the heavyweight investors, the big investors, they tend to be older. You're talking about late Gen X, baby boomers, and a lot of them just sit there and think, do you know what? It's all too complex. I don't understand it. I'm too old to start trying now. I've got 5 years, 8 years to retirement. I'm just going to hang on till then. Meanwhile, all the younger people, the Gen Zs, the young millennials in their organization are saying, why aren't we on blockchain? Why aren't we on Web3? Why aren't we investing in crypto? So what you have are these generational splits within organizations. You also see it in families to a degree, but you definitely see it in companies. And the trouble is that the decision makers tend to be the older ones in the vast majority of companies. So there are issues there with the cultures within a company, and there isn't yet in society and in the work community a feeling that you have to move to Web3. That's not happening yet. There's a where we are is it's quite interesting. I've heard about it. I don't really understand it. I'm going to wait until more people are doing it before I feel I need to make the transition. So there's no urgency, there's no imperative to act. And until that starts getting momentum, it's going to be a struggle.
It will slow down adoption. No, completely agree with you. Okay, let's try to give some useful advice to the startup out there. So,
yeah,
Semoto, we are a fairly new company, so we need to pass our message out there, same as a variety of companies. So, how to do it? What is the best channel? The frequency on the message? Give us a roadmap.
Okay. So for most organizations in this space, one of the problems is there's so much media out there. There are so many platforms. And you've got to think about not your platform, the platform you're comfortable with, but the platform that is best for growing your audience. So for example, I absolutely love TikTok. I'm a TikTok obsessed, but for my communication, it's not the platform that I would use to grow my business. For example, Discord is really popular, but it's not the best platform to grow your audience if you want to actually step change your business as opposed to work with the in crowd. So for me, I think LinkedIn at the moment is probably the best platform for a business-orientated communication strategy. One of the problems with LinkedIn is people think it is just for people showing off about their latest promotion or talking about some self-help thing that they found. Actually, it's much better to think of it as a platform and a channel, a proper broadcast channel. So what I would be doing is I'd probably do a number of things. The first thing I would do is I would build out my connections on LinkedIn. And that's the great thing about LinkedIn is you can be very targeted. So you can find specific businesses that you believe might want or need to transition into blockchain or Web3. So they might already be kind of technically enabled. They might be need security. They might be kind of open to new tech. You can literally find the CEOs, the marketing directors, the CTOs. You can find the people you need to talk to, and you make the connections with that audience. So you start building your audience. The second thing you need is what we call a cornerstone piece of communication. Usually they're best as a video. Now what that would be is a 5 to 10 minute video that says, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is why it's important and why it can help you. So it's one video. If someone says, hey, Semoto, what do you do? you just say to them, watch that. And they'll understand. The objective is that by the end of it, they understand what you do, and more than that, they want to be part of it. So we call it the cornerstone video, and that is something you drive everybody back to. All the time, you get people to watch that. Hey, this is who we are, watch this. You asked a question about what we do, watch this. We're at a trade event, watch this. It's constantly, that's why it's the cornerstone. It's literally the source of truth about your company and the benefits. Then what you need is ongoing messaging. So at any moment in time, there are only a handful of people who are in buy mode, who are ready to make a move to invest or to buy or to subscribe or join your organization. Most of the time, they're not in that mindset. So what that means is you have to be communicating on an ongoing basis. And what you're doing is you're getting onto their mental shortlist. So, I've got a car I quite like, but if that broke down, in the back of my head, I've already got 2 cars that I think I'd probably get one of those, so I quite like that as well. So it doesn't mean I'm going to buy it today, but it's in my mental shortlist. And we have a mental shortlist for everything, for literally everything, If I'm going out for dinner tonight and I can't book a table there, I'll book a table there. We have a mental shortlist for everything. Your job is to get onto people's mental shortlists.
You want to be the next hot things that everyone wants to try.
Exactly, because they're quite happy with what they're doing now, whatever they're doing now. But you need to be on the list for if they need to make a change, I'll go and talk to them. Because the chances of you getting them in the very moment when they do want to talk to you is so minimal that you go to the second best, which is I want to be in the back of their head, the mental shortlist. To do that, you need to be in front of them. So they go, God, I keep seeing those guys. I keep seeing Semoto. I keep hearing about what they're doing. They're doing some really interesting stuff. I don't even need to read what you say. I don't even need to watch the video. I just need to see you pop up. Because what that makes me think is, wow, they're around. They're still around. They're consistent. They're obviously big. They're obviously a player. They're obviously important. They keep popping up. Sometimes I watch their stuff, sometimes I don't. So you're getting on the mental shortlist. Then another part is the FOMO effect, which is, shit, everybody else is doing this and I'm not. So a big part of it, let's take the Semoto example, carrying on with that, would be, hey, these guys have just joined. These guys have just done a deal. These guys are just doing something through Semoto. These guys... So then people think, wow, those guys are really hot. Now,
absolutely.
Politicians are very good at that. Football teams are very good at that. Momentum. And that's what the FOMO messaging gives you.
What is the frequency, in your opinion, in order to be out there and to be remembered?
There's a lot of discussion about this. I would say in this space that we're talking about, once a week. Once a week with something. It doesn't have to be much. It's just something. And then once a month or once a quarter with something a bit bigger. Something a bit more, oh, wow. So yesterday, for example, on LinkedIn, we dropped a video of my avatar with a dog's head talking in my voice, lip synced. So it's a full it's a dog avatar of me. So very odd and unusual, different to what we normally do. And of course, I've got a ton of emails this morning from people saying, "Wow, I saw your video. Wow, can we talk about it?"
I'm going to make sure to actually repost it on the comments after this podcast, so people can find it, because it is quite impressive actually.
And so those are the things you do, your normal communication, and then you drop something that makes people kind of sit up and go, "Oh wow." So it's mixing the flow. There's a lot of psychology around the disruption of communication. So if I suddenly swore in a presentation, it would make people sit up. If I suddenly started talking about when I was born and what happened on that day, these things that are unexpected, and what happens is your audience kind of look up and take notice. So within your communication, you need a mix of stuff that they need to know, and you need unexpected stuff that kind of surprises them, and get that mix.
Last question, and then we switch to the avatar one because it's extremely interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, we live in an age where attention span is probably at the lowest. I think we're talking a matter of seconds. So we all know that video are the best form. But what about blogs? Are people still reading blogs? Would you still suggest companies to use them to put the message out there?
Look, blogs are useful. They and there are a lot of people who prefer reading than watching or listening because they might be on a train or or in a meeting or at work. But they are not as effective as video for sure. But they are useful in the mix. I like to think of blogs as a second stepping stone in the communication mix. So a video gets my attention. It gets me to listen and watch and engage. Where do you go next? And that's when I would send somebody to a blog. So I'd say, so you find this interesting, have a read of this. Because in the blog, you can be a bit more nuanced, a bit more detailed. People can spend more time. So they're important, but they're secondary. And they are a good place to take somebody so you keep them in the mix. Don't lose them at the end of the video.
That's a great answer. Thanks for that. Now, moving to the avatar, because
Yes.
that's how you got my attention in the first place, because on Semoto we have some great marketing companies, some others that support you in the message. Obviously, you come with an incredible package of experience, so you are top of the food chain. But then you do something different, because what you told me really got my attention. Videos require time. You need to, maybe as a founder, as a CEO, you need to spend the time to be out there, be interviewed, editing the video. Well, with an avatar, with the technology, with what you launched, I can send you a recording of something. My company potentially can be out there every day, every 2 days, whatever I want, with something that will always be impeccable, because it's not going to be me tired because my 2 kids get me up at night or anything like that. So tell us about that.
That's absolutely right. It's so we all know that video is the most powerful and effective and most engaging of all the mediums, whether you're on TikTok or on Facebook or on LinkedIn. So video is the secret to, if you really are serious about telling people about what you do and growing your business, you need to be using video. That's just given. Okay, but as you say, video is expensive and it's slow and it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to make, so you can't do it on a regular basis. So my whole point earlier about needing to be consistent and regular, you can't do because it's too expensive. Avatars change all of that. And the process is, we film you, it takes about an hour, and then we can make your avatar. Your avatar is ready about 2-3 days later. Once we have your avatar, you can send me a report and say, could you turn this into a video? You could send me a blog piece. You could send me some bullet points. Can you turn this into a video? So what we do, our company, we turn that into a script, we feed it into the avatar, and we create the video. So it means, I'll give you some numbers, because people think about this and think, okay, how much does this cost? So if we've got your avatar, you could be putting a video on LinkedIn every week for a whole year, and it would cost you less than $40,000. So you could be there every single week of the year with a different message, different story, telling people about your business, telling them about a new client, telling them about a new innovation. You have a presence, a year-round marketing presence for $40,000. Now that, if you haven't got $40,000 in your marketing budget, okay, there's something wrong, because it's going to take you a very long time to grow if you're not telling people what you do. And I think that's one of the problems with the blockchain Web3 space, is it tends to be dominated by people with a tech background. And we all know that marketing can be a complete waste of money. You know, there's a very famous quote from the 1800s where somebody said, I know that I'm wasting half of my marketing money I'm wasting. I just don't know which half. And I think that's the problem with marketing, is that we know it works, it's just really hard to be specific about how it works. And so I understand why a lot of people from a tech background look at marketing spend You've got a new company and you're thinking, look, let's not waste money on marketing. But actually, you have to tell people what you do in order to grow. And so I feel putting $40,000 aside to say that's our strategy for the year, a whole year. You know, I don't need a marketing director. I just need to be telling people what I'm doing. That's kind of what we do. And the avatars, they're super cool. I mean, we've got one of Raoul. So we do one of Raoul on Real Vision every day. Avatar of Raoul does a market update. And, you know, it means he doesn't have to be there every day. He can be at a conference. He can be at an event. He can be doing something else. But his avatar goes out. And we tell people it's an avatar. Everyone knows it's an avatar. Weirdly, in the tech space, blockchain space, Web3 space, people almost expect you to be using an avatar. You know, why would you film you for real? You're a bloody tech company. You should be using cutting edge technology. You should be using avatars. So in a way, it's almost expected of you, and it reinforces your credibility as a cutting edge technical organization.
Makes sense. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, when you look at the potential spending for creating videos, it's that is a drop in the ocean compared to what you can end up spending. So you put together.
It's a drop in the ocean compared to what you'd end up spending on video. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the time of your senior people spent making those videos, and it's a drop in the ocean in terms of the potential upside of if just one of those videos gets somebody's attention, who then makes an investment or signs up or signs, you know, it's paid for itself many times over.
Awesome. I'll make sure to tag that video. I'm sure people will love it. Damian, last things before leaving you. 3 advices for the audience, 3 common mistakes to avoid.
Okay. Wow, that's tough. Okay. So 3 pieces of advice is it's not enough to have the best technology in the world. You have to tell people the benefits of that technology. Second piece of advice is spend time really thinking about your core audience. Not everybody could use it. Who are the people who are the absolute core audience for you? And rather than think about why they might like you, think about why they don't like you, or why they won't like you, or why they won't use you, and try to figure out how you can address those blockers. Third piece of advice is spend time and a little bit of money on marketing. You have to communicate. You have to do it. You have to, you know, people would think nothing of investing in new servers and new technology or a new coder or a new programmer. But when it comes to spending money telling your audience what you do, people feel very, I'm not sure we want to do that. And actually, you have to do that if you want to grow your business. Common mistakes. People waste a lot of money in marketing and communication by trying to say too much to too many people across too many platforms. Try to be more specific and more targeted. Don't just spray. Just do one thing well. Second thing.
That's a great one.
Focus on one message. So if I wanted you to catch a tennis ball, I would think, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you 6 tennis balls, and then surely you're going to catch one. You might even catch 3 or 4 of them. But actually, if I threw you 6 tennis balls, you're just going to go, and you won't be able to catch any. If I throw you 1 tennis ball and I throw it really well, you're going to catch it. It's exactly the same with messaging. Don't throw 6 messages at people, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this. It just gets too confusing. Say, this is what we are good at. And they will catch that message, and they will remember it. So focus on your message as well as on your audience. That's the other mistake people make. They try to say too much, too many messages. And the third mistake that people do is they do one big thing, a big video or a big event, and then they think, great, we've told everyone what we do. And what you need are stepping stones. Okay, after that event, what do? You need consistency. You need to keep going back to your audience regularly. So the consistency is very valuable, not just because your audience will then remember you and get used to you and put you in the mental shortlist, but all the algorithms, whether it's LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever it is, all of the algorithms reward consistency. So that's what you need. You need to be consistent because your audience like it and the algorithms like it.
Amazing, super helpful. I mean, I personally learn a ton. I'm definitely going to make sure to put it in practice at Semoto, but I'm confident that a lot of people in the audience are going to love this podcast.
We're always happy just to chat and help. We don't need to start working with people, just happy to help.
That's great. So, Damian Horner, Vision Creative Labs, thank you so much. Thanks for joining the Semoto ecosystem. Please find Damian profile, get in touch. What he built is absolutely great. Damian, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Marco. Really nice to chat. Take care.
Wait a second.